You don't expect the damage to come from a therapy session, not on camera, not from a mother to her daughter. But what Robyn said to Aurora that day didn't just shake the women in the room, it triggered a storm that would explode across social media, spill into court, and finally force Kody and Robyn to answer for something far bigger than parenting. The moment Aurora looked away in shame, even the therapist flinched. And now, in front of the world, Christine is asking the one question everyone's been too afraid to say aloud. Why did Robyn tell her daughter to accept love in any form, even when it hurts? What happened next would divide the family forever. And finally put Robyn under oath. If you're ready to hear what really happened that day, and what Robyn said when the courtroom turned on her, keep watching. You'll never look at her the same again. What do you think Robyn's real motive was behind that advice? Drop your theory in the comments. We're reading them all. The room was too quiet. The lighting from the cameras buzzed overhead. You could hear the soft hum of the air vents in the corner of the Brown family's makeshift therapy studio. This was supposed to be one of those healing sessions TLC had been hyping. The one where Kody would finally address the emotional wreckage left behind from Christine and Janelle's departure. But no one expected the explosion to come from Robyn. She was seated across from Aurora, her posture rigid but her smile rehearsed. Aurora, fidgeting in her chair, looked like she wanted to disappear behind the pillow on her lap. Kody was slouched, arms crossed, jaw tight. The therapist, a soft-spoken woman from Utah hired for the taping, tried to guide them into an open conversation about emotional needs and personal identity. And that's when it started. Sometimes love doesn't look perfect, Robyn began, locking eyes with Aurora. Sometimes it's messy, even hurtful. But you have to accept love in any form, especially when it's coming from someone who struggles to show it. Aurora blinked. The therapist glanced at the camera crew. Meri, off to the side, leaned forward, her expression sharp. And Janelle sat frozen, lips parted as if she were about to say something. But didn't. What Robyn said next changed everything. You don't push love away just because it confuses you. If it feels off, sometimes that's because you're not used to receiving it. You're supposed to grow into it. The silence that followed was like a knife slicing through warm air. No one breathed, not even Kody. Meri whispered something to Janelle, and Janelle's face turned to stone. How far does love in any form go, Robyn? That's the question that lit a courtroom on fire months later. The therapist stammered, trying to redirect the conversation, but the damage was done. Aurora sat hunched forward, clearly uncomfortable, and mouthed something that looked like, "Stop." The raw footage was never meant to air. But leaks happen, especially when production crew members feel uneasy. A week after the session, a 90-second clip appeared online, labeled Robyn's Dangerous Advice. Within hours, it trended on every platform. And within days, Christine filed an emergency motion requesting the court investigate whether any children in Robyn's home had been exposed to coercive or inappropriate emotional instruction. Christine's petition shook the courtroom like thunder in a glass house. "Accept love in any form," she repeated, holding up the printed transcript, "even if it hurts, even if it feels wrong, even if it makes you uncomfortable." 3 times Robyn said it, and now she had to defend it under oath. Back at the courthouse, cameras swarmed the entrance. It was a media circus, the kind Kody used to enjoy. But this time, he wasn't smiling. He walked fast, eyes down, holding Robyn's hand. Robyn wore dark sunglasses and no makeup. Aurora was not with them. Christine arrived separately, confident, silent. Her lawyer, an older woman with silver hair and a binder thick enough to crush a table leg, walked beside her. Inside, the courtroom was packed. Meri sat in the gallery, stone-faced. Janelle was beside her. Even Gwendolyn was in the back, arms crossed. And then the moment came. "Mrs. Brown," the judge said, "you are not accused of any crime, but you are accused of giving emotionally manipulative guidance to a minor under your care. Do you understand?" Robyn swallowed hard. "Yes, Your Honor." That was the first time Robyn looked truly afraid on record, and the first time Kody looked like he didn't know how to fix it. The clip was played on screen. In silence, no commentary. Just the raw footage, her voice echoing through the room like a sermon no one wanted to hear again. Aurora's body language, Robyn's gaze, Kody's passivity. When the lights came back up, you could feel the entire room waiting for someone to speak. Christine's lawyer stood. "Can you explain what you meant?" she asked. "By telling a minor to accept love, even when it feels wrong?" Robyn stuttered, looked to Kody. "Sometimes teenagers misread love. I was trying to help her be more open." Christine's voice pierced the stillness. "So if she's uncomfortable, it's her fault for not understanding it?" Robyn's eyes welled up. "That's not what I said. But it's what she heard. And it's what we all heard." At exactly 8 minutes in, the courtroom turned cold. Because a second clip played, one the public hadn't seen, and this one was worse. In it, Aurora says, "It felt wrong, but you said that's just my trauma." Robyn replies, "Yes, it's not him doing anything wrong. It's your fear reacting." The room gasped. Christine closed her eyes. Janelle broke into tears, and Meri stood up and walked out. What's hiding behind Robyn's version of love? The next session will expose what Aurora says next. The silence after the second clip was unbearable. Christine didn't move. Her fingers gripped the edge of her table. Janelle was openly crying now, tissues in her lap, her lips pressed tightly to keep herself from breaking down further. The judge removed his glasses, folded them, and placed them on the bench with a soft clink that echoed louder than any gavel ever could. Kody looked stunned. But Robyn just closed her eyes, as if she knew what was coming, as if she had lived with the knowledge that her words would one day come back. The kind of silence that follows a moral collapse sat in that courtroom like dust in stale air. What you say to a child in confidence may never stay hidden, not when the cameras are rolling and the world is listening. "Mrs. Brown," the judge finally said, "did you tell your daughter that if something feels wrong, it might be her trauma reacting, not the person's fault?" Robyn nodded slowly. "I did." "And what was the context?" "I was trying to help her interpret emotional conflict. Kody is not always easy. And I wanted her to see that not all discomfort is danger." Christine's lawyer cut in, voice sharp. "So in this situation, the father figure can behave however he wants, and it's the child's responsibility to reframe it?" Objection. But it was too late. The gallery murmured. Even the bailiff flinched. The judge leaned forward. "We need to hear from the minor." A slow inhale swept across the courtroom like a storm front. Aurora had been outside in the witness prep room, watching the proceedings via closed feed. No one expected her to be called so soon, and no one was prepared for what she was about to say. Sometimes the truth isn't whispered. It erupts. And when it does, it doesn't care who it shatters. The door creaked open. Aurora stepped in. Her hair was up in a loose bun. She wasn't crying. She wasn't trembling. But her hands, they clutched a notebook so tightly, her knuckles were pale. She was sworn in. The judge's tone softened, but his gaze didn't. "Aurora, we understand this is difficult. Do you feel comfortable sharing your perspective?" She nodded. Quietly, Christine's lawyer began gently. "Aurora, when your mother said those things about love, about discomfort being a trauma response, how did that make you feel?" Aurora hesitated. Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. "I felt like I was being told that my feelings were wrong, that if I didn't like the way someone treated me, it was my fault for not understanding it, even if it made me feel unsafe." Robyn buried her face in her hands. At 7 minutes in, Aurora's voice became the most powerful force in the courtroom. No anger, no blame, just pain, raw and impossible to ignore. The lawyer nodded slowly. "Did you believe what your mother told you?" A long pause. Aurora shook her head. "I tried to, but it made everything worse. I stopped trusting how I felt. I let people hug me too long. I let comments slide. I stayed quiet." "Why?" "Because I didn't want her to think I wasn't healing. She said healing meant learning to accept all kinds of love, even when it's confusing." The judge's pen stopped moving. Even the court reporter blinked. Aurora wasn't accusing her mother of abuse. She was accusing her of erasing her instincts. And then Aurora looked up straight at Robyn. "I know you didn't mean to hurt me, but you did." Robyn's breath caught. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. Kody leaned forward, as if trying to will Aurora into looking at him. She didn't. Christine watched with her jaw clenched. Janelle reached for Meri's hand, and to everyone's shock, Meri didn't pull away. Christine's lawyer continued. "Aurora, did your mother ever coach you on what to say before this session?" Aurora nodded again. She said, If I felt uncomfortable, to remember that Daddy was trying. Then I'll be requesting the full therapy logs and any unused footage stored by the network. Robyn started to protest, but Kody stopped her, placed a hand on hers. His expression wasn't defensive anymore. It was afraid. Christine stood, smoothing her blouse. She walked over to Aurora, and without a word, she hugged her. The courtroom was dismissed for lunch. Outside, reporters scrambled for statements. Cameras flashed. The network released a short statement. TLC prioritizes the well-being of minors and is cooperating with all legal inquiries. But inside, behind closed doors, Robyn was falling apart. She turned to Kody. "They're going to twist it," she whispered. "They don't understand. I was trying to protect her." Kody didn't respond, not for a full 10 seconds. Then, he said the one thing no one expected. "You need to stop talking." Robyn blinked. "What?" "You're making it worse. Every time you speak, it gets worse." She looked like she'd been slapped. In that moment, something shifted. Kody, the man who once shielded her from everything, was pulling away. And Christine, she was walking down the hallway with her lawyer, handing over a flash drive. "What's on this?" the assistant asked. Christine's eyes were steel. A deleted clip the network buried. "Aurora gave it to me last night." The assistant's eyes widened. "What's in it?" Christine didn't pause. Proof that this wasn't the first time Robyn told her daughter to ignore her instincts. The courtroom hadn't even settled before the storm rolled in. Christine's flash drive sat inside a padded evidence pouch marked Supplemental Media Confidential. The clerk plugged it in behind the judge's bench while the rest of the room slowly filled back in. Robyn looked pale. She sat stiff, shoulders curled in, arms wrapped tightly across her stomach like she could hold herself together with pressure alone. Kody kept glancing at the doors, as if still unsure if he wanted to stay. Aurora wasn't in the room anymore. She'd been excused, but her words hung like fog over the entire room. I stopped trusting how I felt, because I didn't want to disappoint her. Now, the judge was about to hear a deleted clip, one so deeply buried by TLC that it had taken Christine going directly to Aurora just to find it. The room darkened. The screen lit up. The clip began with Robyn and Aurora in a hallway. No microphones. Just a camera operator trailing quietly after them during a break in filming. Robyn's voice was soft but serious. "You have to remember that people like your dad don't always express love gently." Aurora nodded, silent. "If it's ever confusing, don't question it. Just assume it's coming from a good place." Then Robyn touched her daughter's shoulder. "Even when it hurts, that's still love." You could actually hear Meri whisper, "Oh my God." And then came the part no one expected. The part even Christine hadn't seen in full. Aurora mumbled something. Robyn leaned closer. "You need to protect him, baby. You always have. Don't let your feelings ruin everything." That was it. The judge raised his hand. Paused the clip. The room was still, airless. Janelle stood slowly, her voice trembling. "No. Play the rest." "Mrs. Brown," the judge started, but Janelle raised her hand. "I've sat here for years. Years. While that woman spun everything into a sob story. But this, coaching a child to protect a grown man's emotional fragility over her own discomfort?" Christine put a hand on Janelle's back, but it was too late. She coached that girl to ignore her instincts. She coached her to stay quiet. And we wonder why our daughters are in therapy? Tension doesn't always come from screaming. Sometimes it comes from truth finally released. The judge nodded. "Play the rest." The clip resumed. The hallway footage continued, and suddenly Robyn glanced toward the camera and spoke directly to it. "Cut this, okay? Don't use this. This is just for us." The operator's voice, off-screen, responded, "We're just rolling in case." Robyn smiled, a closed-lip, warning smile. Then she leaned toward Aurora and whispered one final thing. And this time, the mic barely picked it up. "If anyone asks, say it made you feel better." The screen went black. No one moved, not even Kody. At 7 minutes in, the courtroom reached its most dangerous silence yet. The kind of silence that means someone's about to break. The judge didn't speak. Christine's lawyer didn't need to. It was Janelle who shattered the stillness. She walked forward, stood in the center of the courtroom, and turned to face the bench. "I'm filing for a motion to have Robyn's parental decision-making suspended pending a formal psychological review." "Mrs. Brown," the judge warned, "you are not a licensed attorney." "Then call mine," she snapped, "because this isn't about legal process anymore. This is about a pattern of manipulation. This is about a girl being groomed into silence." Robyn gasped. "You think I'm a monster?" she shouted. "I think," Janelle said, her voice sharp and unshaking. "You have no idea how much damage you've done." Robyn stood. "You don't know what it's like trying to raise a daughter while this entire family falls apart. And you don't get to sacrifice her peace just to preserve your image?" The judge slammed the gavel once. Hard, but it wasn't enough to silence the emotion pouring out of every woman in that room. Christine stepped forward, quiet but cutting. "You raised her to please Kody, not to protect herself. You raised her to perform for you, for him, for this show. And now she's suffering for it." The judge took a breath. "Court is in recess for 30 minutes. Counsel, please remain." Everyone else filed out slowly. Even the cameras didn't follow them out this time. No one spoke in the hallway, not even the reporters. Inside, the judge turned to the attorneys. "This case is now being considered for transfer to Family Services Review. That footage will be sealed from the public, effective immediately." Christine's attorney nodded. But there was more, because as Christine walked toward the hallway, her phone buzzed. A single message from an unknown number. "There's another clip. One you don't have. Check the Dropbox link. She says it goes further." Christine stopped cold. She read the message again, then looked up at the elevator doors ahead of her. She didn't need to guess who she was, because the next clip wasn't from Aurora. It was from Dayton. And in it, Robyn says something even worse. Something she never meant to be recorded. Christine stood in the corner of the hallway, her phone still in her hand. She stared at the message. The Dropbox link pulsed like a live wire in her palm. Another clip? From Dayton? It didn't make sense at first, until she remembered. Dayton had been helping TLC with their backup hard drives for months. He was always in the edit bays, always in the background. No one noticed him, not even the producers. But someone had noticed something. She clicked the link. A 22-second clip. Video from a security cam, not from TLC. A kitchen. A late night. The timestamp. 3 months ago. Robyn stood at the sink, whispering. Dayton's voice came from behind the camera. She didn't know he was recording. And her words shattered what was left of her image. "I just told Aurora what she needed to hear. She's too sensitive. And I'm not going to let Christine poison her against Kody. If she has to be a little uncomfortable for a while, so be it." Christine dropped the phone, not fumbled, not slipped. She dropped it. Cold shot up her arms. Her skin crawled. She turned to her lawyer. "Get that into evidence. Some truths aren't just ugly, they're weaponized." And this one was aimed at the courtroom like a loaded gun. Within the hour, the judge reconvened. "Counsel has submitted new video evidence from a third party. I'm allowing it under sealed review." Kody jumped up. "Objection! That's from my son's personal devices." Christine's lawyer stood. "He's a legal adult. He submitted it willingly." Kody glared across the aisle. "This is a setup." The judge raised a brow. "Are you alleging the video was fabricated?" Kody hesitated. "No," he muttered. "But it's private." Then it should never have been said. At 7 minutes in, the screen came to life again. This time, without warning, the kitchen video played. No camera crew, just Dayton's small home security feed. Robyn. "I just told Aurora what she needed to hear. She poured a glass of wine. She's too sensitive." She laughed. It was short, bitter, familiar. If she has to be uncomfortable for a while, so be it. The room exploded, not physically, but emotionally. Janelle gasped. Meri covered her mouth. Even Christine, who had seen it already, blinked like she was reliving the betrayal all over again. And Robyn? She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just slumped, like a woman watching the last brick of her wall fall out of place. What do you do when your own child becomes the witness that breaks you? That's what Robyn was facing. And the courtroom was no longer on her side. The judge leaned forward, face unreadable. "Mrs. Brown, you are now under review for potential emotional coercion of a minor, and you may no longer have unsupervised influence over Aurora's media-related decisions pending child welfare investigation." Robyn didn't respond. But Kody did. He stood. "I take full responsibility. She was just trying to hold everything together. The courtroom didn't blink, because for once, no one believed him. Christine stepped forward. Your Honor, we are requesting a 90-day ban on all media participation for Aurora and a formal third-party review of the household. The judge nodded. Granted, effective immediately. Kody turned. You're ruining our from crew members who witnessed similar moments during tapings. And we have reason to believe production was instructed to cut them. All. The judge waved him forward. Christine turned to her lawyer. We're not just dealing with Robyn anymore. She whispered. The lawyer nodded grimly. We're dealing with a system. The court clerk's footsteps echoed like hammers in the silent courtroom. In her hand, a thick manila folder. Inside it, a court-ordered release of TLC's internal emails, chat logs, and production memos going back 7 years. The room felt different now. Not just like a courtroom, but like a stage about to catch fire. Christine watched the folder land on the judge's bench. Janelle sat still, lips pressed tightly, her fingers curled into fists on her lap. Robyn hadn't spoken in 20 minutes. Kody looked like a man holding a cracked mirror, terrified of what part of himself might fall off next. The judge cleared his throat. We have here a sealed package from the network's compliance attorney, submitted voluntarily after this court-ordered discovery of footage suppression protocols. Christine's lawyer stood. Your Honor, with the court's permission, we'd like to read one email aloud. The judge nodded. She opened the file slowly, as if holding a match over gasoline. Email subject line. Make Robyn the hero. Season 17 and beyond strategy. A sound left Robyn's throat. Something between a cough and a sob. The lawyer continued reading. From Executive Producer L. Morrison. To Story Editors. Compliance Team Date, October 14th, 2021. Subject, Make Robyn the hero. Season 17 and beyond strategy. Body. All story arcs moving forward must protect Robyn from backlash. She tests well with audiences when portrayed as the emotionally overwhelmed center figure. Any clips showing manipulative behavior or arguments with minors should be cut or redirected in editing. If Christine or Janelle raise concerns about parenting, pivot focus to Robyn's stress levels. Build the season around her as a woman under siege. Paint Christine as bitter and Meri as unstable. Every face in that courtroom twisted into disbelief. They weren't just dealing with family. Dysfunction, they were dealing with a media-engineered character. Assassination, Christine's lips parted. Her eyes didn't blink. Meri looked down. And Janelle? Janelle stood. Read it again, she demanded. The judge paused. Mrs. Brown, no! Janelle snapped, voice shaking. Read it again. The judge motioned to the lawyer. She read the subject line again. Louder. Make Robyn the hero. Season 17 and beyond strategy. At exactly 7 minutes in, it became clear TLC hadn't just shaped the show. They had weaponized the wives against each other for profit. And Robyn? She wasn't crying anymore. She was furious. That's not my fault, she shouted. I didn't ask for them to do that. Kody stood with her. She didn't know. She never saw those emails. Christine's lawyer raised an eyebrow. We have 3 signed off-air memos acknowledging Robyn reviewed edits before broadcast. Want me to read those too? The courtroom gasped. Robyn sat back down. Hard. The judge leaned forward again. I am expanding this hearing into formal discovery. I want all contracts, raw tapes, and off-camera notes produced by TLC during the filming of the last 5 seasons. If your production team shaped narratives to manipulate real legal guardianship or emotional abuse issues, this court will hold you liable. A silence fell again, but this one was heavier, like the weight of a house collapsing on everyone at once. Kody was sweating now. His hands trembled. Your Honor, he said slowly, you don't understand. We needed that money. The contracts. They weren't fair to any of us. Christine laughed. A sharp, humorless exhale. You didn't seem to mind when they painted us as villains. Meri stood. Lost a decade of my life to that narrative. The judge turned to the clerk. Start with the production notes from the therapy session. Featured this week? I want timestamps and deleted audio logs. The clerk opened a secondary file. There's a flag note from a post-production meeting. The judge nodded. Read it. The clerk hesitated, and then read from the printed transcript. Robyn asked us to remove the moment where Aurora says, "This doesn't feel like love." She said it would damage Kody's reputation and confuse fans. Editor complied. Footage archived in secure backup. Robyn buried her face in her hands. Kody snapped. She was trying to help. This was about family. Not fans, not ratings. Christine's voice cut in, soft but devastating. Family doesn't ask children to lie. And then the doors opened again. A woman walked in. Dark pantsuit. Badge around her neck. The bailiff stood up quickly, whispered to the judge. He nodded once. Christine's lawyer turned around, watching closely. Then the judge spoke into the mic. This court will now recess for 24 hours, pending evaluation of newly submitted federal interest. Kody stood. Wait, what does that mean? The woman walked up to the bench, set a folder down. I'm Agent Torres. Family Division. Child Witness Division. We've been reviewing the case since the therapist submitted a concern last month. Christine's mouth opened slightly. She sent a report. Agent Torres nodded. Off the record, yes. But once the video evidence came in, and once we saw the deleted clip Dayton submitted, we knew it was time. Janelle whispered. Time for what? Torres looked at her, then at Robyn. Time to bring in the second. Witness. The courtroom doors didn't just open. They cracked reality in half. Everyone turned. Christine went pale. Robyn visibly recoiled in her seat, whispering something no one could hear, but everyone felt. Her body language changed instantly. Her hand went to her throat. Her legs shifted under the table. Her face dropped into something between dread and panic, because the woman who stepped inside was Robyn's own sister, Dark Blazer. Blonde streaks in her hair, a steel gaze that didn't blink. She walked down the aisle like she wasn't just entering a courtroom, she was walking back into war. Agent Torres escorted her straight to the witness box. Christine looked at her lawyer. Janelle's lips moved silently. Is that? It was Colleen. Robyn's estranged sister from Montana, the one who had left the family church years ago and refused to film even once, the one who had allegedly disappeared from the family for her own healing. Now she was here, in court, in front of cameras, and in her hands, a black folder, sometimes the most dangerous. Evidence isn't digital. It's personal, buried, forgotten, until it walks through the front door with your bloodline. The judge looked down at the paperwork. You are Colleen Mayberry? Yes, Your Honor. Relation? I'm Robyn Sullivan Brown's biological sister. Robyn flinched at the use of her full name. The judge gestured. You have something to submit? I do. She passed the folder to the clerk, who moved faster than anyone had all day. Inside were photocopies. Dozens of them. Handwritten notes, wire transfer receipts, a letter, and one notarized affidavit. Christine leaned forward, reading upside down. Her eyes widened, because what Robyn's sister just handed over proved two things. That Robyn had set up a private fund in 2014 during their Vegas move, without informing any of the other wives. That money meant for the Coyote Pass Trust had been rerouted to a shell LLC, with Aurora's name on it. But the most damning part? Aurora was 11 at the time. Janelle gasped. Meri clutched her armrest. Robyn tried to stand, but Kody held her wrist down. Don't, he whispered. The judge looked stunned. These documents claim that a minor child was listed as an owner of a property asset via forged trustee consent. Colleen nodded. I warned her back then. I told her it was unethical. She said it was just temporary. But the money never went back. Christine's lawyer was already on her feet. Your Honor, this is critical. We need to cross-reference these transfers with the Brown family trust. This isn't just emotional manipulation anymore. This is financial exploitation of a minor. Kody shook his head violently. No, we set that up as a contingency. For future college funds. Robyn didn't forge anything. I signed off on it. Christine turned. Then why was your name missing on the deed? Silence. Dead, humiliating silence. At 7 minutes in, the court wasn't just focused on parenting anymore. It was unraveling a years-long financial deception buried under contracts and confusion. Robyn finally stood. You don't know what it was like back then, she said. We were drowning in promises, in fake unity. Kody told me to protect what was ours. Colleen stood too. No, she snapped. You told me to help you hide it. The judge slammed the gavel once. Enough. Everyone sit. They did, but not calmly, because the clerk handed the affidavit to the judge, and the title on top read, Transfer of Trust Oversight. Authorization for Property Diversion. Minor Proxy Consent. Christine's lawyer spoke again, this time carefully. Your Honor, we'd like to subpoena the notary on that form. It claims all spouses present and approving. We know for a fact Christine and Janelle were not even in the state. The judge nodded slowly. Bring them in. Robyn, shook her head. They won't find her. The room froze. What did you say? The judge asked. Robyn closed her eyes. She moved to Belize. She was paid to leave the country. Kody turned. What? She didn't answer. Christine stood slowly. That notary was your old friend. The one who used to do signatures for your jewelry business.